Well, welcome Year 10 to our 8th lesson for our video tutorials. So let's have a quick look at what we're doing today. Today's lesson is on rates, but before we get there, let's have a quick look at what we've done last lesson. Last lesson we were still looking at ratios, and we learned to solve two types of ratio problems. One type was when you were given the ratio and one quantity, and we solved these using equivalent ratios. The second type of question was when you were given a ratio, but this time you were given also the total quantity of all parts. And this was a three-part solution. First, we added the terms together. Secondly, we divided our total quantity by the number of parts we did in step 1. In step 3, we multiplied each of our ratio terms by the singular quantity we found in step 2. So, let's have a look at what we're doing today. We're looking at rates, but let's look at what the difference between ratios and rates is. Read with me. While a ratio compares two or more quantities that are measured in the same units, or parts as we call them, a rate compares two quantities measured in different units. For example, kilometers per hour, heartbeats per minute, or the cost of apples per kilogram. Now we can look at these three examples and see that as the first quantity, the kilometers, the heartbeats, or the cost of apples increases, so will the second quantity, the hours, the minutes, or the kilograms. For example, if a heart beats 74 times per minute, then after 3 minutes, it's going to beat more times. 22 or 222 times to be exact. Secondly, we need to understand, so put your eyes to the bottom of the screen right now and have a look, that rates need to be expressed as singular units. So I'm going to do a quick example on the board right now about rates. Let's have a quick look. A good example of a rate question is a driving question. So say Mr. Stinson is travelling 60 kilometres every hour. Now firstly, as a rate, we would write this as 60 kilometres per hour. And we can already see that we're talking singular units here. Some questions will not do this, but we'll look at them in class. So this is our rate. One type of question will ask you to find something in the first quantity, kilometres. Let's have a look at one of those types of questions. How many kilometres will be travelled after 3 hours? Now we need to have a look at this question carefully. It's asked us how many kilometres. Have a look at where that is in our rate. On the left hand side. So how do we do this? Step 1. Write your rate as a fraction. 60 kilometres per hour equals 60 over 1. Now this type of question, as I said, is trying or asking us to try to find kilometres. What is on top of our fraction? And if any question is trying to ask you to find what's on top of your fraction, in this case kilometres, you would multiply your rate, 60 over 1, by the quantity they give you, in this case 3. We would get a total of 60 over 1 times 3, which would be 180. Let's quickly look again. This question has asked us to find kilometres. And kilometres sit on top of our fraction, in the numerator. And if this ever happens, you must multiply by the quantity they give you. Let's look at a different question quickly. Another question may ask you, how many hours will it take to travel 180 kilometers? Let's look really carefully at this question. This question is asked us to find how many hours. And we can see that this is different. Hours this time sit on that side of our rate. But step one is always the same. Write your rate as a fraction. In this case, 60 over 1. 60 kilometers over 1 hour. If a question is ever asking you to find what sits at the bottom of the fraction, I'll write hours down here. In this case, hours. And this question is asking us how many hours. We need to divide our quantity, in this case it is 180, by our rate. I'll make those bigger. So the biggest difference is, this time we were trying to find what's on the right hand side of our rate, the hours. And to do so, we divide our quantity by the rate. We do not times. So I'll open the page in the PowerPoint that goes through these steps very clearly, and I hope that you can have a go at doing this example at home. Let's have a quick look. Ben types 50 words per minute. Now I've got two types of questions here. The first one is asking how many words will he type in 20 minutes? It's asking us to find something on top of the fraction. The second question is asking us how many minutes will it take Ben to type 800 words? So this time it's asking how many minutes, what is on the bottom of our fraction. So use what I did before on the board as an example, but follow these steps carefully. Step 1, write your rate as a fraction. 50 over 1. If the question is asking you, I'll give you a hint, like the top question, to find a quantity in the numerator, meaning what quantity is it looking for you to find? It's asking you to find how many words. Now, does that sit at the top or the bottom of our fraction? If it's at the top, you must multiply it by the rate. The second question is different, and it's asking you to find a quantity in the denominator, and in this case you must divide it by the rate. Have a go at this. I'll quickly flip up some solutions to you, and you can check your work as well. This refers to the first question, and this one refers to the second question. Alright, so the next lesson I'll see you on videos. We'll be looking at rates with direct proportion and be going quite fast through the rest of it. Let's just minimize that. So Year 10, we'll do many examples of these in class. I'll go through the step-by-steps again, nice and quickly, but I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. Alright, have a good afternoon.